We'll let some folks join on Zoom. And I am going to attempt to record this, so we may be able to share the link for anyone who wants it. We'll go ahead and get started once everybody gets back. Man, I can't get over how nice this building is. Do you ever use it? Awesome. Yeah, it's great. Conference room, kitchen. That's great. It's great. We have some things like this in Salinas and Monterey, but not quite to this caliber. Love it. All right. No worries. Thank you so much. All right. Christina's with us. Can you hear me, Christina?
Yeah. How about me?
Oh, there you are. Great. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and get started. And anyone who joins on Zoom, I'll try to do my best to be present and also Zoom and PowerPoint, but we love technology. So I'm very grateful for the folks that are in the room. We're going to do our best to kind of introduce ourselves so we don't mind. I'm Jordan Caballero with Monterey County Business Council. Primarily, I'm working with a program we'll talk about today called Apex Accelerator. But I also now I'm supporting with Small Business Development Center, and we're kind of a collaboration, and grateful to be joined today by our new executive director, Jeff Ruster. So he comes to us from the city of San Jose and has just been on the job a couple months now. 2 months and a day. So who's counting? Yeah. And so my colleague Jose Luis normally would be here. He's on leave at the moment. So we've been kind of coordinating to fill in those gaps and get on the same page. And so moving forward, at least for now, I'll be kind of the point of contact. So I'm very, we had to reschedule some of the Salinas events, but we didn't want to reschedule today because we really wanted to make an effort to get out here to Hollister, connect with the local San Benito County and City of Hollister partners, which a lot of you are here either on Zoom or in person. So we're very grateful for that. I wanted to take the time, so you know a little bit about me now and about Jeff, but would love to hear more about the rest of you and kind of talk about our future collaborations beyond just this workshop. So if you don't mind, you don't have to stand, but would love to introduce yourself. All right, great. Awesome. Welcome.
Yeah, speaker. I go to schools and speak and I do curriculum for young women. And I also have a business for real estate transaction coordinating.
Oh, very cool. I'm also a licensed realtor, so great. Yeah. If you live in California, you have to have more than one job in this economy. But I get bored with one job. I don't know about you, but anyway.
Daniel Wright, Gaston and Pope, and also a director with the Town Association.
Great.
Omar Rosa with the Hollister Downtown Association.
Awesome. And Christina, online?
Good afternoon. Christina Chavez Wyatt, president owner, Farmhouse Communications, LLC, DBE, MBE? I'm sorry, WBE. Consulting executive director, San Benito County Business Council for the last 14 years.
Very cool. Christina and I now have known each other for a little while. And we've had the chance to be at different meetings and now it's exciting to finally get to collaborate. So excited. Can you see the PowerPoint, Christina?
See?
Okay, great. You guys as well. Can you see it? Let me see if I can get there. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to do a combination of slides and then at the end we'll show some videos just for context, but welcome today. And I apologize if anyone's logo is missing. I didn't make this flyer, but moving forward, I will make sure the flyers are properly placed and the promotion moving forward is a joint effort because I'm glad that the stakeholders are here. Now we want to get it out to the public, to the business owners, to the nonprofits that need our support, right? So just to give you a brief synopsis about Apex Accelerators, formerly known as Procurement Technical Assistance, and were authorized by Congress in 1985 to expand the number of businesses capable of participating in government contracts. The National Defense Authorization Act ordered Secretary of Defense acquisition and sustainment. A lot of acronyms in government, by the way. I'm sure you all know that. Basically, we are focusing on strong, sustainable, resilient U.S. supply chains by assisting a wide range of businesses that perform under contracts with the DoD, now the Department of War. We also not only focus on federal contracts and military contracts, but local and state as well. So locally, we're administered by the Monterey County Business Council, funded by the Department of Defense, congressionally mandated since 1985. There's 97 centers across the U.S. and territories, and our mission is to promote economic growth and employment opportunities. We facilitate access to government marketplace at the federal, state, and local level. So at the federal level, there may not be a ton of opportunities in San Benito County, but there are some clients and some companies that are bidding on federal contracts in neighboring counties as well. And there are some San Benito County-based companies that are as well. Obviously, primarily in Monterey and San Benito County, it's mostly agricultural-based businesses, but there are some in Silicon Valley and on the peninsula as well because of the military installations. So here is our service area. We're kind of in the blue there in the middle. Even though our name is Monterey Bay, we're really Central California. So that includes all the counties you see listed here, especially today, San Benito. Our office is in Salinas, but again, we serve Central Coast to Central Valley. So we pass Hollister a lot for events in Fresno and Merced, but we want to spend more time here directly. So some of the things that we offer at Apex Accelerator would be one-on-one counseling. And that comes in the form of, sometimes over the phone, sometimes over a Zoom call, or we have an office in Salinas. We're also willing to drive to client sites if it's within range and looking to build more partnerships with folks like yourselves here locally in Hollister, where we can serve those clients in San Benito County that need in-person services. We're happy to come out. We're not too far. We do pre-award assistance, meaning we're reviewing opportunities. So how many of you ever heard of RFQ or RFP or something like that? So when a government agency puts out a contract, those are public funds. So there's a process they have to go through. So we help business owners understand that process, because how you get a client in the private and commercial sector is very different than how you get a client in the government sector. So we help, at no cost, we help clients understand that. So post-award assistance, if there's any conflicts or debriefs or protests, outreach events like we're at today. So we're going to be doing more events like this in person. In our coverage area, which again is Central Coast and Central Valley, we're doing different trade conferences, events, webinars, seminars, trainings. We provide something called bid matching, which is basically an email service that scours the internet for different opportunities and sends them to our clients based on their either codes or keywords. So if you, let's say hypothetically, you're in construction or you're in janitorial or IT, where you're going to have certain codes and keywords relative to your business. And so we help you match. Basically, you wake up, depending on your industry, it could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly. You're going to be getting emails that are relevant to your business. And then you can kind of review those opportunities. So we also help you navigate certification programs. Now, right now, under this current administration, and not to be political, but there's been a lot of change in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you've noticed. And so that affects all of us from the federal, state, and local level. And so SBA helps with some of those certifications, and we can help clients understand that, whether it's woman-owned business, DBE with the state of California, Caltrans, service disabled veterans, 8A, HubZone, those kind of things. So it can be very complicated and hard to understand, and we definitely help walk clients through that process step by step. So, and there's no fees or commitment to work with us. We are your tax dollars at work. So that's why we make a great partner, because we're not charging by the hour like an attorney would or something like that. We're basically like a free consultant that helps small businesses navigate this complex process. Now, with SBDC, recently, we combined with Merced and Mariposa County last year, and that new name is called Monarch Small Business Development Center. Now, small business development centers are a direct branch of the SBA, and this is kind of more about them. So small business development centers provide counseling and training to small businesses, including working with SBA to develop and provide informational tools to support business startups and existing business expansion. How can an SBDC help my small business? Our programs deliver professional, high-quality, individualized business advising and technical assistance to existing small businesses and pre-venture entrepreneurs. So our first program, Apex, that is not really for new businesses. If you have an idea, you have a concept, you're thinking about starting something, Apex in government contracting is probably not where you want to start. We highly recommend you start with a small business development center because they're going to help you with your business plan, marketing, potential access to capital. So new technologies, you improve your business planning, strategy, financial management, personnel, marketing, export, sales, and other areas required for growth and expansion. So you'd be surprised. I'm sure you see it at the chamber. I'm sure you see it at the Downtown Association. You'd be surprised how many business owners have no training, no education, have no experience other than their particular skill or their passion. And so they might be great at running a restaurant, but they don't have a plan. They don't have their taxes in order. They don't have their legal in order. And so unfortunately, sometimes businesses don't last because they didn't have a proper foundation. And so we try to help provide that. Some of the aspects that the SBDC provides are similar but different than Apex. Advising at no cost, confidential, one-on-one advising. So the SBDC, when you're working with Apex, you're working directly with someone like myself. In the SBDC, we have advisors out in the field that are experts in their particular area. So they may be former bankers or MBAs or professors or people who own restaurants, different specializations. Those are the folks that when you sign up as a client with SBDC, you're working directly with a specialist, an advisor. So you guys can coordinate your own time, whether it's out in the field or on Zoom or over the phone. It's great. So also SBDC, similar to Apex, hosting workshops, trainings, events, webinars like the one that you're at right now, interactive training online in person, covering various topics from social media marketing, exporting, importing to government contracting, and helps you to stay in the know against your competition. So it's one thing to do research online or use ChatGPT or whatever. It's another thing to work with someone directly and in person. And if you combine all those tools, then that's how you're going to succeed, kind of a hybrid approach. So one of the areas that SBDC focuses on that Apex does not is funding and capital assistance. A lot of folks come to us wanting to know about loans, wanting to know about grants. That is not something that Apex does, but that is what SBDC specializes in. So they will literally help you prepare a loan package, prepare a grant application, and get you through that process of getting an SBA loan if it makes sense for your business. Now, we don't recommend going out and taking on a bunch of debt if you have no sales or if you have no proof of concept. But there are companies who are already successful, but to scale to the next level, they need an influx of cash. Then it makes sense, right? So they help you specialize. They can help you with the loan packaging process, connect you to the right financial institution, and expert advisors help you with alternative funding options such as crowdfunding and advise you on grants and those kind of things. So just so you know, here's some information that would be relevant. So the Monarch SBDC serving Merced, Mariposa, Monterey, San Benito counties, even though obviously we're here in Hollister, focused on San Benito County. As you know, many of your clients, many of the people in this community might live in a different county, their kids might go to school. And so even though we're neighbors, so there's a lot of crossover between Monterey County, Merced, and Mariposa as well. Here's some of the locations. I would take note of those, if those that make sense to you. These are kind of our schedule of services, and we're hoping, I think, eventually to open up a consistent presence here in Hollister as well for San Benito County. So right now we're primarily in Soledad, Salinas, and Monterey, but I think sometime in the near future we can be here in Hollister more often. I know that's what Jose Luis had envisioned, so we're going to continue with that. So here are some previous events and some upcoming events just to kind of see. Another one of our partners is called VBOC, and you can get connected through SBAA.gov to SBDC to Apex to VBOC. There's programs that specialize in helping veterans from start to finish, start a business, get access to capital. We can help with veteran certification because in some cases, for instance, like the VA hospital, they really prefer to hire veteran-owned companies. But in order to be certified, we have to go through a process. So we can help with that process. There's also going to be some seminars about government contracting on Zoom, hosted by our friends in Merced. There's a newsletter that you can join. And this is a little picture here in the corner. For the past 2 years, we've done something called the Central Coast Procurement Expo. And we brought together over 100 clients and some exhibitors and visitors to learn about procurement. And from City of Salinas, County of Monterey, Cal State Monterey Bay, we're going to be expanding that event maybe to smaller but more regional versions. And it's a chance for folks to not only be on a webinar, but to interact directly with the government agencies that are hiring those contracts. And just as a disclaimer, we have no influence or control over who gets awarded the contracts. We just help you find them and help you understand them. All right. And here is my contact information, which I've already given out my card, but feel free to take a picture of that. You can call me or email me. And again, I'm primarily at the Salinas office, but I'm willing to come out here to Hollister as often as needed. Yeah, and then let me just see here. I'm going to go ahead and show some of those videos. Looks like we have. Oh, great. Christina says she can connect with the county's vets program manager, and that's her cousin. Great. Yes, I think that would be helpful to do that. So let me see. I'm going to pull up some videos here. And this is one here just about Apex Accelerator. Share sound. Okay.
Apex accelerators are significant contributors to the Department of Defense's priorities and the supply chain security of the entire government industrial base. And last year, the Apex Accelerators program delivered in a major way. Hello, I'm Khalil Mack, Director of the Apex Accelerators program at the Department of Defense. Every day, our mission is simple but powerful: to help businesses, including small, medium-sized, and non-traditional, gain the knowledge and confidence to succeed in government contracting and contribute to the security and strength of our nation. Over 26,000 new clients, businesses of all sizes and backgrounds, received personalized guidance from our 90-plus Apex accelerators across the country. Our network hosted more than 6,000 training events. That's about 24 events every business day, giving businesses the tools they need to compete and win. Apex clients were awarded an astounding $64.9 billion in government contracts and subcontracts. This all translates to a return on investment of over $1,100. But it's not just about numbers. It's about the impact the businesses supported by Apex accelerators are having. They provide our warfighters with critical supplies, new technology, and key support services. Helping companies become government suppliers enables the mission and advances our national security. Over a third of our new clients are doing work in critical technology areas that are vital to the DoD. These are the innovators, the builders, the problem solvers, helping to shape the future of our defense industrial base. Thank you for taking a moment to learn about the impact of the Apex Accelerators program. Your business could be our next success story with the expert support of your local accelerator.
All right, and then this is a story of a local business.
Sumanos Bakery, it's a wholesale business
Many of you have
that's
had their bread from
situated
Costco.
in Watsonville, California. We started this business, my brother, my wife, and I, in 2001. We immigrated from Oaxaca, Mexico, and in the 90s, we became American citizens. Sumanos Bakery currently serves about 200 grocery stores. We bake between 8,000 and 10,000 loaves of bread a day. One thing that really separated Sumanos Bakery from other companies is that we don't use preservatives in our breads. We try to buy the best natural ingredients that we can find in California. 2 years ago, my wife and I, we were trying to get a loan to purchase a mushroom farm. We went to our local bank, and somebody there told us about the SBDC. The SBDC advisor found out about the bakery, and he immediately told me to concentrate on the bakery, because bakery business was the one that was going to support the new business. With the help and advice from the SBDC, we were able to get more fundings for our business. We were able to focus and create more jobs. And also we were able to get a loan to purchase our building, which we're going to be moving into hopefully next year. And a lot of good advice and other small areas where we cut some of our expenses, and it really makes us more profitable. The building we purchased at Gilroy, it's twice as bigger. So we're going to be able to double our production and hire more people. Sumano's Bakery purchased all its ingredients and materials from local vendors. And most of our bakery equipment is also purchased here in California. The plan is to keep growing. We want to invest some of our resources on building our brand name. That's very important for us. We want it to be recognized nationwide.
I'd say that they're reaching their goal. They're definitely getting. Let me turn that on. Sorry. So they're definitely reaching that goal. I think of nationwide impact, or at least regional. And they are a client of Central Coast SBDC. So, and they're a neighbor here. I think their factories in Gilroy. So pretty cool. That's pretty much all I have as far as a presentation. Because we just wanted to share with you what's available, but I'm also here to answer any questions you might have and talk about kind of future events or collaboration that you would like to see here in the area. So yes, Christina.
He had carved out 2 additional workshops. Are those workshops still a go, or are we gonna?
So right now we agreed to cancel everything that was tentatively planned so we could start fresh. Because there was such uncertainty about what was planned or when or where. I know there were some tentative ideas, but it doesn't mean they're not going to happen. It just means that part of why I'm here today is to reignite those conversations. If that works. So if you want to keep those dates, we can keep them. There was uncertainty about what was discussed, and so that's part of why I'm here today, to get that clarity. So if those dates work for you, we can keep them. Were they like financial workshops or? Okay.
But there was one.
Sure. Well, absolutely. So I would say make a list of the priorities that you feel the chamber has, and we can do the same with the Downtown Association or any other, speakers like yourself. And if you feel, I feel like any one of you could trade places with me and could be presenting just as effectively. So we're happy to collaborate in that way. We're just here today to kind of share what's available as far as our programming. But I think longer term, it's going to make more sense that if we build something kind of together as a team.
Is what Monarch does. What is needed more is like the education of resources. We have a lot of small businesses already, but they're just unsure of the resources, and they feel like to go to a big bank, or maybe access to capital isn't within their reach, right?
Yeah.
Some of them don't have a business plan. Some of them, again, like you said, they're going off of passions. Some of them do, some of them don't. And I think one of the biggest focal points is, if we're going to start some workshops, I think let's just start off with the basics of the basic needs of a small business in general, and then work our way up from there. But I think if we just get back to basics and give resources to our small businesses as far as what is out there, I think that would be a lot more resourceful, and then they can pick off the tree whatever suits their needs.
Yeah.
Bringing all of the resources that Monarch has
Yeah. Absolutely. So the San Benito Business Council, I know that Christina's involved and she's asking what is desired or expected from partners. At this point, I think we're kind of more trying to learn from you. Obviously, no one knows this community better than you do. We have a pretty good handle on Monterey County, but as far as San Benito County and Hollister, we have a lot to learn from those of you that are in this room. So we don't, supposed to know more than you do. You're from here, right? You work here every day. And so what we're just saying is that both Apex and Monarch SBDC serve this region. And so because MCBC is the host, then you have us as a partner, right? So regardless, it doesn't matter. What I see, unfortunately, sometimes is I want to support any business owner from the small garage startup to the big company here in town that does millions in business. We can support everyone at every stage. I do think a lot of the resources and events are kind of targeted toward those smaller businesses, as they should be, but at the same time, let's be honest, some of them will never qualify to do business at a certain level. And so I think personally, I would love to see more targeted events, right? So if you are considering a food truck, like we do an event for you. If you are a, 50 employee, 10 million in revenue construction company, that's a different event and conversation. And so I think the mistake we make is we mix those people, and I don't think they should be mixed. I think there are some events that make sense to have everyone in the same room, and then there's others where we should really be targeted and specific. But yeah, go ahead, Jen. Yeah.
I love the opportunity. I think I agree with George just shared. I think from you, what you think the business most need would be of utmost importance in helping the outreach, obviously.
Yeah.
And one thing is, we can do workshop. We can do them in person. Virtual is going to be easier for us right now because we are dense staff. And also maybe one-on-one advice. We do have someone, small business consultant, a Spanish speaker. So maybe you could help us make one-on-one referrals to that person as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're typically located down in Soledad. But again, if they could do a Zoom call or something, we could get more personalized assistance. So I think we're still trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. But definitely believe for sure, trying to live up to our commitment to workshops and business basics.
And I know that today is Board of Supervisors Day, so we will not be doing it on Tuesdays moving forward. But I think if we get buy-in from the supervisors and from the city council, and to understand what they have, because I don't know if you guys experience this here in Hollister or in San Benito County, but in Monterey County, there is, in my opinion, too many nonprofits and too many business agencies and government agencies that are not necessarily on the same page. So we've been working for the past few years to kind of get everybody on the same page, consolidate efforts, because in some cases it makes sense. Everyone has a right to do what they want to do, host their own events, do their own trainings, go after grants. Everyone has a right to do that. But it would make sense maybe to join forces in some cases, not in every case, but in some cases, it would make sense to join forces to be more effective, better serve the community. Yes.
Small nonprofit. See, so many times that we duplicate for the
Yes.
second part is we end up getting gifts.
Yes.
And I've been big in San Benito County, because in Santa Clara County, we had more collaboration.
Yeah.
But here, I haven't been able to have a breakthrough in getting people to see the benefit of us working together.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, my husband is a property manager for commercial buildings. And we have a lot of really wonderful people, entrepreneurs that are getting their start because we have office spaces that are affordable rents where people can come and launch. So when we ask them to, get their application approved, thank you, with, helping us to present to the property owner a business plan or how to go about even getting that first start. And I've been helping quite a few people with that, but on the other hand, I could really use some help as well.
Absolutely.
And helping people launch. And we've seen, like we have one business that started with us in just a very small office space, and they moved to a larger office space. And we're so thankful they ended up buying a building here in town and have their nonprofit and part of the building and the rest of the building is for lease.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just exciting to see, but it's that initial thing where people really struggle and don't have that resource. So
I think the initial resource is Small Business Development Center. And yes, it's a one-stop shop. Apex is a little bit more advanced. Not every business is going to ever need to work with Apex, but for those that do, we're here for them, right? But like you said, I think there's a lot that's there for free. And a lot of folks, like some of the folks in this room, have, their professional expertise or primary business, whether you're a tax consultant or an attorney, but then maybe you volunteer your time for a downtown association or for a chamber. And so a lot of folks in this community have that mentality of like, absolutely, you can help for free to an extent, right? Then when it crosses over to, okay, you need real professional help, then you need to budget for that. You can't expect everything to be free, right? You're a business owner. If you give away all your food, then you're not going to be in business, right? So there is that balance of identifying what are the free resources and then what are the paid resources. And what breaks my heart is sometimes business owners will pay for things they could have gotten for free. And so I want to make sure that we exhaust all the free resources first. And then, but if it makes sense, on the other hand, you need to be willing to invest in your business. And sometimes that means you need to pay for a consultant. It means you need to pay for an attorney. Maybe if it's only 30 minutes, that 30 minutes is going to save you thousands of dollars. So who are attorneys that are likely to work with those types of businesses versus the ones that won't even talk to you for less than a certain amount of time or money, right? So just as a community, how can we collaborate and share resources and say, oh, if you want to deal with that, talk to this person, talk to that person. I think it's already happening to some extent, but it's just, this new Economic Development Council that Christina is part of and that some of you are part of is kind of leading toward that, being that resource. And she has her hand raised. Go ahead, Christina.
Sorry, you caught me off guard. Excuse me. I'd be there in person, but I've had a flu for about a week and I can't taste. I can't smell, so I want to stay away from everybody.
No worries.
And Jordan, I appreciate you talking about free, but free also comes with an obligation because these organizations have funders, and the funders will require you to usually take a survey so they can have data to report back to their funders. And also, if you do engage
which we do.
Yeah, you're obligated to show up to your appointments on time. And if you can't, because you need to respect the time of these consultants because they're either paid or they're not paid, and do your homework. So it's free, but it does come at a cost. So you got to be in it to win it, and you got to help your partners.
That's a really good point. Sometimes when it's free, it's not treated as seriously. And you're right. There's no such thing as totally free. Someone's paying for it, right? So in the case of the free services, it's usually paid for by a grant or a government agency, and therefore it's free to the client. Or if it's a private business, then they're going to be charging the client. And in some cases, it makes sense to hire a consultant or an attorney. But a lot of businesses locally are not necessarily ready for that level, right? So thank you, Christina, for that. And both Christinas for your contributions. Anybody else have kind of some thoughts about, one, about the services, any questions we provide, but also what we can build here in Hollister and San Benito County as far as resources?
So many groups find the same thing. I think here you have, both the business council and the chamber and ourselves here that can speak to on my end. But we have been working on being more collaborative and kind of being on the same page. So what we're waiting for is for someone like yourself and Monarch to come in that we could start taking those next steps. Right? We finally got to the table. Talk about it. So what do we do now to get to the next steps and start focusing on these groups? I think what you said earlier too about making sure that they're almost specialized in your startups, your larger companies, or whatever makes a lot more sense and kind of bring everybody together. But then that's something that we can take and say like, hey, Christina, you focus on this sector. We can focus on this sector, and this also can work on that. Just pull our own list and everything else, but still give that information to each other so we know where we are within that state.
Right, because as a downtown association, most of the clients or the businesses here are either going to be retail, restaurants, or maybe professional services, right? Pretty much.
And we also do farmers markets. And we do
farmers markets.
We have all these entrepreneurs that are at our farmers market that are looking to take the next step from,
Yeah.
vendor to food truck to
Right.
brick and mortar and expand their reach in other places. So, we bring within that another 100 or so vendors that are wanting to take the next step into whatever that next step is.
So for instance, you see Santa, oh, go ahead.
You take all of your vendors and shoot what resources are there, and then focusing on them, at least like nipping away at our businesses and giving them the knowledge and nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can lead a horse to water, right? But you can't make him drink. And I think if maybe it hasn't been a cohesive resource list or message or events before, but it sounds like we're moving towards that, right? This is a step in that direction. The Economic Council is a step in that direction. And that's our whole goal is, hey, you can't say you didn't know. Here it all is. Here's the resources. Here's the information. It's up to you what you do with it. But yeah.
Together like a one pager of all of the bullet points of the umbrella of, we talked about, I mean, it's a big market, but as far as the gist of the basics of what you guys provide, like the key elements of like business planning, counseling, access to capital. So that way we can have it kind of like as an introduction piece, and then we can give that then to our businesses.
So absolutely. It's on both websites. However, we can develop something together that's custom to Hollister and San Benito. Yeah.
And the previous for you guys, and again, it could mean you guys, but you guys had all that issue beforehand. And then I don't know what happened pre-COVID, like all these groups, all these kind of companies, they kind of sort of went away. So we lost a lot of that marketing, a lot of that information. But we used to be able to hand people these kind of things and say, we have so-and-so, they're not local, but they're regional. And so, but again, it's so many changes that happen. You change your name, or everything else. So we just need to have that stuff back.
So
that
let's do it.
Those resources at our locations that we can then.
We also have partners at the state of California as well. So state is partners of ours that we can get some resources specific for San Benito and Hollister. Now, the key that we're going to need help with, and this is where we can all do it together, is the cities and the county. So I know they're going through their own budgetary and political, turmoil that every local agency is going through right now. But if we can say, okay, as a city, what are your programs? What's the permitting process? Are there grants available? As a county, what's the permitting process? And we can get on the same page with some of these folks, because a lot of times we can give the best webinar, the best counseling. And then if they go and try to work with the city or the county and they hit a dead end, it's kind of like all of our work was a waste of time, right? And we can help them apply to federal contracts and state contracts, but it's like you're dealing with Sacramento and you're dealing with Washington, D.C. Right here, you can walk to City Hall or you can walk to the county building. It should be an easy process. And I know it's not always one person that gets to make that decision. I know that there's layers of bureaucracy, even locally. But I think if the business community and the business services community can be on the same page, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the elected officials and also on the infrastructure, because it's not always their fault. They want to make change happen. They get elected and then they see how hard it is. So it's like, okay, somewhere we got to get some change here.
I'll come to the agreement what that's. Yeah, I think that's been the biggest hurdle to see thus far, because everybody recognizes that it's lacking, it's not there, and so I don't even have one website that has all the information. We can't even agree on that.
Yeah, well, I can tell you it's easy when you're campaigning to poke at the establishment until they get in office, and then they become the establishment, and then they got to realize all these different departments have to sign off before any one thing gets posted or approved, or every local agency has that problem. So I'm not here to bash on them. We need local government, but I don't want to be saying one thing and then it's not in congruence with what their policies are, right? So if we can collectively, I'm sure some of you have better relationships than I do. We have some. I know Christina does as well. And I know some of the supervisors and city council people have been to some of these meetings, but that is the missing element. So that's part of why we've been successful in Monterey County and in Salinas, is because our office is literally across the street from the county and the city. So those are our friends. We've had different staff members. Jose Luis is a city council member. Our previous director was the mayor. So, we don't expect that level of collaboration, but I think if we can identify, and let me tell you, it's easy when you're campaigning to criticize, but when you're elected, what they want is wins. They want to say, hey, I helped bring this amount of money to this project. We can help with that. We can identify every, whether it's federal, state, or local, every elected official wants to bring resources to their community. So if we can help identify and celebrate and promote those things, it's going to get more attention, right? As we know, squeaky wheel gets the grease. So it's like, if we can celebrate those wins and not just complain and actually like, all right, we're all here. We want to roll up our sleeves and get to work. What do we have to work with? And if we start off with nothing, that's fine. But I know that if we do it, if we build it, it's so cliche, they will come. And I mean, it's evidenced by today, right? So where there was a little bit of confusion about what was happening today, I thought it was all going to be on Zoom, and it turns out everyone came in person, and it's even better than expected. So, but this is the kind of stuff that needs to happen on a regular basis.
We have put together, signed going through the collaborative efforts, which she did mention was the Equity Collaborative, which we were part of last Friday, and then is a newly formed right now, which I think one point it was the advisory committee, and I think at one point, maybe 4 years ago, Orange came and did a presentation because it was a small business workshop that was put on by the EDAC at that point,
Great.
which has now dissolved into tourism. So we don't have a whole group, right now, formal group that is caters to economic development, but that is what.
Well, tourism is part of it for sure.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
The economic development or economic vitality, of course, will come with tourism, but I believe the focus has shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
So which is why we have the economic collaborators. I think that would be a good start.
So-
To get you guys there.
Yeah, Christina had a good point. She agreed with Omar. She said the business council, or that they need to swim lane, so to speak. And the business council is developing a collective calendar of workshops, events, meetings. Would love to collaborate with all of us. As it stands, I need to populate the data, but I'd like to provide a tool for approved partners to add. That's a good point. Yeah, someone's going to have to take the lead on that community calendar. Like you said, some printed materials in English and Spanish. Is there a third language you think is primary here? Those two should cover it. So English, Spanish. I speak Spanish, but Jose Luis is much better. Bilingual resources. Is there like a commercial or industrial park here in Hollister, where all the like heavy equipment type businesses are?
There are a few of them.
Out by the airport. Great. Okay. So yeah, I personally need to go check that out. Check out the airport. I know the airport director has been attending different events. Christina and I have been with him at different events. And it sounds like, I mean, this has been a great group of people, and that the Economic Council is a great group. Is there anyone else you're thinking of now that you're here that we're talking about this? Oh, you know, so-and-so should be at this meeting, or so-and-so should be involved in this. Anybody have any ideas? If not already.
It'd be
I
nice.
love that this is pre-wired.
It'd be nice to invite, there's 2 business associations in San Juan Bautista. If you're looking to go countywide, and then also try to incorporate the Farm Bureau where we can.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do I don't want to hijack the Economic Council. Who's kind of taking the lead on that group? I know some of the supervisors were involved in starting it, right?
Yeah, Supervisor Curo and Supervisor Sotelo. It's their.
Okay, so I don't want to necessarily, I don't know if we don't need another group per se, but I feel like the people that were here today can continue that conversation. I don't know if we do it through that channel, or what do you guys think?
You do both.
Yeah. Do you have relationships there?
So what the, as far as that.
I know there's a new city manager there.
Cheaper. Is going to happen with it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the okay to move forward. And there are some key players that we kind of need to reach out to the city. Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on? The other component will be to talk to banks themselves.
Yeah.
Because if you have the commercial bankers, all the commercial bankers are doing, they're not even, a lot of times they're not even popping to the branches. They're going to would benefit.
I that's a great point, because we have this conversation all the time. a lot of times we're doing these big events, right? We're doing one in Stockton. We're doing one coming up in Tulare or in, Modesto. And a lot of the people that attend those events are not the people that are qualified to be working with these types of contracts. And the people that are already busy, they're already busy. They don't have time to come to ribbon cuttings and Saturday socials, and they're out there doing the work. And so in some cases, we're going to need to go to them. And I'm willing to do that with you all. This is a beautiful meeting space, but I'm willing to go to the businesses and say, hey, what do you need? How can we help? And did you even know that this was an option? And so I know that you at the chamber, you have a roster of businesses. And I'm sure you have a roster of clients, but I mean, what are some of the businesses that you think, obviously we want to help the ones that are just getting started that need the resources, but our help of them can only go so far, right? So in the case of like the bread company, that was able to take them to the next level. And we know that there are some companies that no matter how many resources they get, they're going to stay at a certain level, right? That maybe they're a little food cart and they're happy with that success. Great. Then there's others that if they had the capital or they had the coaching, they could scale. And it's not just about their success. Then they become an employer. Then they become a success story for the whole region, right? And we can think of, probably off the top of your head, you can name a few companies here in Hollister or San Benito that are major employers, right? So that's part of the economic development piece. It's not just one company. It's also how many people are they employing? How many people, and that's jobs, that's keeping local, that's allowing people to stay living here and not have to commute to the Bay Area just for a job. Like that would be the goal, right? And if you could live and work where you live would be like a dream for a lot of people, especially in a bedroom community, right? So that's part of our goal collectively to be able to achieve those goals. I appreciate your insight. What were you saying? Great.
So, like, they're
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Great job.
Great.
They want to be taking the, that's
Great.
great. So
Yeah.
whatever I can do to
Yeah.
help, we can a meeting to see how we
Yeah.
can plug this in and see.
I think both Christinas are going to be pivotal in all of this. And, anything we can do to help with federal and state resources. And then if you guys can help on the local level, just as far as the supervisors and the city council and managers and those, we can bring in those other resources. And it's really not that far away. I know there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but we can identify and say, hey, is this an issue of conflict of interest and we need to maybe exclude or include this group? Or is it just someone needs to take the lead? Or if someone takes the lead, will that other party be offended? Like we need to figure that out. Okay, we're all adults. Let's figure this out. There's resources out there. At the end of the day, our goal is serving the community. So there's enough for everyone, and everyone can take the credit. It doesn't need to be one group, right? And ultimately, we're providing a service. We have some success stories of our own in Monterey County because we've seen that business government partnership. And I'm sure it's happened here as well, but we can see that as we grow, the economic development piece can be the part that ties in business and government. Because as you know, sometimes businesses, the last thing they want to do is deal with government. But government hires businesses to get projects done, right? So there is an interaction there. So anything we can do to support both with the free resources from SBDC and Apex, but also just the fact that we do this all day, every day. And so we understand how it all works, and we're happy to, connect with you all as much as we can. And we're neighbors. So it just makes sense to support in any way we can. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Any other questions or comments? And we can hang out afterward. And I'm going to have lunch somewhere here downtown. Yeah, so SCORE is an awesome organization. They are, to my understanding, they're basically mentors. Similar to SBDC, but not so much. They're just more advisors. It's just a different type of counseling. And a lot of the SCORE mentors are, not all, but a lot of them are retired. And so they're experts in their field of over 20, 30, 40 years, in some cases. So getting a chance to have a SCORE mentor is pretty special. And SBDC mentors are great as well, but it's just a little bit of a different dynamic. So I've done webinars with them. We can bring through us. we can bring in all of those other resources. So all the state and federal partners, they're all friends of ours. We interchange trainings, we interchange events. And so are you a SCORE mentor? Is there a SCORE office here? So I think I know the regional director because we've done events together. So we can bring them in, basically everyone, the veteran stuff, the mentors, all those federal programs or state programs we can bring here to Hollister and collaborate on that. So absolutely. Anyone we don't know, we can probably figure out who does. Yeah. Oh, awesome. And what was your name, ma'am? Linda, and what's your nonprofit? Oh, very cool. Very cool. Super important. This building is so cool that you guys have this. Very cool. So thank you, Christina, for your time. I hope you feel better and give me a call tomorrow, okay?
Will do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.